out the clutch, hit the gas. Rally Radio, where the fast life meets the fast lane.
Yeah.
You're now tuned into Bars and Hoops Radio.
Yeah.
The world of hip-hop and sports live.
Dropping the clutch and then I hit the gas. Wheels screeching, tires burning, I'm flying past. Gotta get home quick, don't wanna miss the class. They schooling you on whips and how to make them fast. Talking about everything from cars to planes. What's hot, what's next, and how to flip the game. They talk in my language, we speak the same. That whip talk complex, but yet they keep it plain. From the news, the interviews, they keep it cool. They give reviews, everything from parts to tools. Can't lose, come to whips, they not no fools. Don't miss the show, the start time is noon. The bearded one, S.I Shawn, they crazy though. You can't miss it, tune in to Rally Radio.
Where the fast life meets the fast lane.
Whoop, 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 whoops. We in the building, man. You know how we get down, man. It's the bearded one. I am in the building. You know how we get down. It is Saturdays, 12 noon. You already know what we doing. And we talking about them autos early. Let's go. Listen, it's a lot going on outside, but you know what we're going to talk about today? We getting into them horsepower numbers today because I saw something and that made me laugh a little bit, but then I thought about it. It's pretty serious. What horsepower numbers are respectable these days? Like the other day, right? I just happened to be talking to a coworker of mine, you know what I mean? He was talking about like, listen, man, I'm working real hard on the Subi, and when I'm done, I'm be making 400 wheel horsepower. And I was like, I wasn't thoroughly impressed. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. You know how we get down, man. It's the bearded one. Don't forget, man, share and like and drop a comment if you watching. Drop a comment in there. Let me know you down there so I can shout you out. Let me tell you, man, I was just more than shocked. I'm like, wait a minute. He said it like that was great. And I'm like, yo, need a little bit more than that. So it made me start to think like horsepower numbers, like what are they exactly? Like, and what's respectable? What's coming out there? Somebody coming out there like, yo, I got X, Y, and Z amount of horsepower, and you are impressed. You feel what I'm saying? Who's doing that? So, you know how we get down, man. It's the bearded one. We in the building. Shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention live. We are here. Well, I'm here. I'm in the building. You know how we get down. We're going to bring it to you every Saturday. And you know we got more than enough car show to bring you. Definitely wanted to talk about a couple other things that's going on. I hope Cats is paying attention. It looks like the Tokyo Auto Show is going to be better than the regular auto show or the SEMA rather in Vegas. Shout to my guy Sales. Said, good morning. Time to wash that car. It's nice outside. You ain't lying. And even after this, it's crazy how your day goes when you're so involved in so many different things. Shout to my son. Today he plays another soccer game, and he is the starting goalie. Congratulations to him. I know, I try to get out there every chance I get, but shout to BP. Couldn't be here, couldn't be the key grip, the camera guy, as he got bigger fish to fry, man. Shout to him. Shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. See me live. If you can't hear me, drop it in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what's going on out there. But in the meantime, shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. We rocking crazy. And with that being said, I got to ask. Everybody knows here how we feel about electric vehicles here at Rally Radio. They're not vehicles, in our opinion. They appliances, refrigerators, stoves with wheels. There's no way that we consider them cars. But at the same breath, shout to Jessica Grandy. What's popping? Shout to Jessica Grandy. Shout her out real quick. What's good? Yeah, my man, Lil BP, he out there trying to win early. Now, y'all know that when y'all rocking with us, y'all know y'all rocking with Cats. We don't really rock with them EVs at all. Like, I don't even see them as cars. But the Tokyo Auto Show produced 3 cars yesterday that I just was like in awe. Like, these are going to be the ones that really, really hurt Tesla in the long run. And not that we even judging. But Honda came out with an EV, and I was in shock. And Toyota came out with an EV that I was, and I mean, forget what they powered by. Let's talk real numbers. Forget what they powered by. The way they look. It's blasphemous that I should even be looking at them. But oh my goodness, I gotta say, they look good. And you gotta really say to yourself, like, is this how they're gonna beat Tesla? The fact that every Tesla looks the same, they all look like Kermit the Frog with different colors. You know what I'm saying? I can't stand looking at them. But when you start getting the mix, is this what they need? Is this what that? Because that EV thing is dead in the water. I don't care what nobody say. You got cats that say they're looking forward to it, other cats are not, and I'm one of them. I would love the way that these cars looked at the Tokyo Auto Show a couple days ago. Oh man, it was crazy. I gotta say, I'm more than impressed. Don't forget to call up. The number's 516-206-0711. You know how we get down, man. I'm gonna tell you, if you have an opinion, you know who to reach out to. And we are in the building early. I gotta say, like I said, I was shocked because no, I'm not looking at no EV. Shout out to my guy Jay, because he said he put up a post that I was just like, man, he's right. Like, you know, no way we should be. It's blasphemous to even be looking at these cars, but they look like Toyota did their thing on the design. Honda, not so. I mean, we don't even know if this is real right now. They all concept cars, but I just say it's impressive, to say the least. But with that being said, y'all know how we get down, man. Don't forget, you could call up 516-206-0711. And we about to jump right into the show. I'm going to tell you, one thing I love about the auto culture is the fact that it spins on a dime. Whenever somebody does something that's so crazy, or whenever somebody does something that everybody else considers like hot, they jump right into it. And it's crazy like how the auto industry, now it's like we don't even care that they auto. So how much does the horsepower numbers are respectable? You feel what I'm saying? Like, are you putting it to the ground? I watched a video the other day of a car that claims to be like the fastest Mazda RX-7. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, you have other RX-7s out here that are holding it down. 4-rotor, manual, all-wheel drive. To me, that's the best one I've ever seen. But in the meantime, you got a lot of guys, you know, you're talking a lot of my horsepower numbers is all that. And you're like, nah, not really. So what horsepower numbers are respectable? You feel what I'm saying? Let's get into that a little bit, man. This is definitely going to be interesting. Got a couple other things we're going to talk about. Look like, I'm telling you, Tesla is on their way down. And people don't want to hear it, but it's true. But it's true. And we are in the building, man. We've been talking about them from day one, but it looks like now they got so many other different things going on that it may be a problem for them. But in the meantime, I want to make sure that we shout out everybody who tunes in and pays attention every week. Right now, if you miss our show, we have officially brought them back in different places where you can hear them. So if you missed the show today, don't forget, you can hear us on all platforms now. The only platform we're not on is Tidal. And I don't know, Tidal been acting out with the search. But in the meantime, you can find us on everything. Everything you got. You can find us on Google Podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can also find us with Alexa now, which is very keen. All you got to do is say, Alexa, turn on Rally Radio, and boom, shows right up. So don't forget, you can find us everywhere now. If you miss a show, it's okay. We got you. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into the show. We're going to jump right into a couple other things too. I'm going to tell you, it's going to get interesting real quick. But in the meantime, we no further ado, we're going to jump right into the show. And here we go. Now, if you tuned in last week was a very interesting show. We got a lot of things to talk about. Last week, we kind of got into it as far as, what does it really mean to be out here talking about, you rocking with the autos. A lot of cats say that, and you got to kind of pull their card a little bit. You know what I mean? So we had a deep conversation that we was having last week. And I feel like it got really good, man. It got really good. If you missed that episode, don't forget, you can find that episode on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can find us in your Alexa, Boom Play, Tune In. We're on a lot of different platforms now. Look like a lot of people are picking up the show, which is great for us. One of the greatest automotive shows out there. At least that's what we claim to be. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Definitely one of those times where we get to really, really say how we feel, especially when it comes to the autos. We get to really, really speak on how we feel about it. So, with that being said, I want to shout out personally want to shout out my wife. Shout to my wife. Holding it down as usual. Definitely an interesting episode last week. So don't forget, if you missed that, don't forget, you know where to tune in, man. But with that being said, we're going to jump right in. Weekly specs. Here we go, y'all. Let's get it. Let's go.
Weekly specs. Auto news for all the listeners, only on Rally Radio.
All right. Now, y'all know what our weekly specs, we like to bring you a little bit of news. Got a lot of automotive news and things going on out there, man. It's definitely starting to get crazy. I want to hear y'all a couple things. Don't forget to call up. The number's 516-206-0711. And this is what we're going to start it off with. Shout out to my guy, Aaron Wall. What's popping? My guy, Aaron. Yo, we was talking bad about Subarus before you got here. I feel bad. But it is necessary. It looks like California is going to suspend the GM Cruise self-driving vehicles, saying they are not safe for the public. It took them almost a year and a half to realize that. Come on, y'all. You already know how we get down. You know we've been talking about them. Let's get into this a little bit. This is actually interesting. California auto regulator said on Tuesday it has suspended General Motors Cruise autonomous vehicle deployment and driverless testing permits, saying it had misrepresented information related to the safety of the autonomous technology. Cruise's AVS posed an unreasonable risk to public safety and are not safe for the public's operation. California's Department of Motor Vehicles said in a statement, the suspension, which came after a series of accidents, involving cruise vehicles. Now, y'all know we talked about this. They had an accident where one of them ran over a dog, which was crazy, and they was blaming the dog. They was like, oh, you know what? It was the dog's fault. They had one that actually hit a lady. She got hit by one car, and when she fell in front of this car came from up the street and ran into her too. So that was very interesting. Those are just some of the incidents that we talked about here on Rally Radio. I can only imagine that there's more. But they're saying that the autonomous vehicle they're not ready for that autonomous vehicle in California. And it's about time that they woke up. I don't believe that we're really even ready for autonomous driving yet. And I mean to the point where they're putting these out as cabs or taxis. Like, you think you calling an Uber, you just calling a regular car to come out here, pick you up and take you where you're going. No driver in it. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Don't forget, drop your name in the comments so we can shout you out. You already know what it is, man. It's the bearded one. You know how we get down, man. In June, GM CEO Mary Barra reiterated a forecast that Cruise could generate $50 billion a year in annual revenue by 2030. And that is crazy. They was expecting this thing to make a lot of money, and now it looks like California is not with it. Shout to Jessica Grandy. She said, is that a self-driving vehicle? That's great. Yes, the GM Cruise technology is actually a self-driving car that they was using as autonomous taxis in California. Now, this is not the only place where they're doing it. San Francisco is definitely jumping in. Zoom for Zoom. What it is. What's going on, kid? So what's good? Yeah, I'm running solo today. You know how we get down. Shout to Marlon. He said, yo, Shawn missing again. He had something he had to do. You know how we get down here, but the show must go on. With that being said, when you look into this autonomous driving, I feel like it's coming to a point where the rubber's going to meet the road eventually, and these things are going to definitely have a lot more incidents. And this is just a peek into it at the end of the day. These things are not safe, in my opinion. If there's no operator in it, you definitely got to be careful. It looks like GM Cruise is also pausing their operations of driverless autonomous vehicles in San Francisco too. Let's stop the music for that one. Shout to Draco. So it was rolling. You know how we get down. So it looks like they stopping these autonomous vehicle taxis in San Francisco as well. But this is only one company. You know, there's a couple companies out there that's already still doing a EV and autonomous vehicle thing. But just for them to say that they think it's not safe, shout to Draco. He said, S.I ain't here because he hunting for a conquest with a 2J. Pay attention. Shout to Aaron. He said, people been saying S.I tied up and popped. He said, nah, not at all, kid. Trust me. He's actually test driving an EV. That is hilarious. Nah, I won't curse at that man like that. Nah, he just had something he had to do. We holding the show down. You know how we get down. But in the meantime, that has to be one of the biggest stories that I've seen thus far. Is when you said, all right, so they put all of this money into the GM Cruise self-driving vehicles. And now to say for California to say it's not safe. Now remember, everybody backs up California. Whatever California decides to do, it's like people just rock with it. And this looks like another one of those things that they're going to rock with. Maybe they like, oh, you know what? We don't need them either. So you got to be careful with that. And it sounds like could be some payola going on in the background, but maybe not. Who knows? I guess we're going to find out. And now it looks like California is more or less like they need a little bit more money in order for this to work. And mind you, GM is fighting the battle on a couple fronts. One, they stopped producing, or not stopped producing, they slowed down the production of EV pickup trucks. The Chevy Silverado EV, they stopped production for a little while because it's the want. The people are not, it doesn't seem like people want those as electric vehicles, which is something we've been saying. Tune in the Rally Radio. And also, they still fighting with this UAW auto worker strike. Now, it looks like Ford done struck a deal with these guys and look like they're going to be going back to work soon. But it's a tentative deal, meaning if they don't agree with it, or if the membership doesn't agree with it, they can cancel it. So this is very interesting. And now they dealing with this. They dealing with the autonomous industry saying that we don't want your cars here in California. We feel like they're not safe. That is a big issue. That is a big issue. GM has to be careful here. They got to play their next couple of moves right, because if they don't, this could definitely get ugly. But I don't know, because you got your homeboy over there, Cobra Commander, a.k.a. Elon Musk, look like he's trying to survive. Tesla begs the government for stricter CAFE standards. Now, CAFE, C-A-F-E, means corporate average fuel economy standards. We already know what that is. For the most part, that's what's pushing internal combustion engines or gas power engines out the picture, because they putting the miles per gallon so high that there's no way that a gas car will be able to achieve that. And they're doing it on purpose to force people to buy electric cars. And not only to force people to buy electric cars, they forcing companies to produce them and stop making gas-powered cars because they can never reach those miles per gallon. And if they don't reach those miles per gallon, they get fined. So this is crazy. But it looks like Tesla is begging the government for stricter standards. Now, why would he be doing that? We're gonna take a pause for a minute. Why do you think Elon Musk is doing that? I know, kid. He's Cobra, kid. Cobra Commander, kid. You never see this guy where he creates his damage, and he always figures his way out, just like Cobra Commander. You be looking for Cobra Commander, Cobra! He be jumping out the window already, kid. I'm telling you, this is hilarious. But in my opinion, why would he be begging? Why would he be begging for them to raise the standards? You know why? Because Tesla is losing this battle. The people who have electric cars are the people who want them. Because if they were selling like hotcakes, he wouldn't care. Nobody wants them. Only the people who already have them. You're going to have people that have EVs and Teslas already. And then you got some of your automotive guys. You got to be careful with them. Some of them are out here preaching it hard. They're like, oh, I'm looking to step into the future. Yeah, all right, bro. All right, I got to question you if you was even really an automotive guy, if you could switch speeds that easily. But at the end of the day, this is why he's out here begging them, because he knows that if the government does not help them, or if the government doesn't force you to buy these cars, you won't. He knows that. You won't. And this is why he's starting to listen. I need the government's help. And remember, a couple episodes ago, I want to say, not even a couple, I want to say about, we talked about this a couple months ago. Volvo CEO actually went and said, he said, the only way we're going to get to electrification is if the government gets involved. And after that, it looked like the government jumped in and got involved. And this is what they're doing. At the end of the day, they're sitting here and they're pretty much saying, we're going to make it so hard for you to own a gas-powered car that you're going to have to get rid of it. But this is where it gets interesting. Let's check this out. Tesla's reportedly petitioning the Biden administration to enact more aggressive corporate average fuel economy standards that have already been proposed. First covered by Reuters, Tesla apparently thinks the proposed increased standards of 2% for cars and 4% for trucks annually starting in 2027 and ending in 2032 are not enough. Musk automaker wants the numbers increased to 6% for cars and 8% for trucks. And you know why he wants to do that. Shout to SP to Dawn, he in the building. Jessica Grandy, she said, but are they going to side with him? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I think they will. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this administration that we have in there right now has no idea what they're getting into with this. This is actually starting to get ugly. Don't forget, for those that's tuned in, don't forget, drop a comment so I can shout you out. You already know what it is, man. It's the bearded one. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. But the reason they're gonna try to side with him is because this is just, remember, this is part of Biden's legacy. He wants to, we moved electric vehicles and everything forward. But who are you empowering when you do this? Let's take a little walk down memory lane. We talked about this before. How many electric cars do you see in the hood? How many? How many people you know really own one? At the end of the day, it's because they're expensive. They are expensive. Tesla stock has dropped about $50 since Monday. And last week, he talked about how Tesla dug their own grave by creating this Cybertruck because it seems for whatever reason, they can't get it on the road. Shout to SP, he said, they are not side with him. They work for the same people he works for. Problem, reaction, solution. Wow. I tell you what, it looks like he's trying to do anything he can. He said, under the current National Highway Traffic Safety Administration proposal, by 2032, we'll see a mandatory fleet-wide fuel efficiency average of 58 miles a gallon. Did y'all hear me? They want all of these gas-powered cars that's coming out after 2027 to be able to get 58 miles per gallon. You got to think about it. 58 miles per gallon. So say goodbye to any muscle car. Say goodbye to any V8. This is what's happening. A group of automakers consisting of GM, Toyota, Volkswagen, and many others recently voiced their extreme disagreement with the proposed numbers, calling them unreasonable and much too aggressive. And they are. For the most part, you ain't going to be able to jump that many numbers that quick, that fast. And they know that. But they don't care. They don't care. They know they need to push it because they know if they don't get nobody that follows their administration in office next, he knows this is a problem. He's like, oh boy, don't let him get another a right wing president like a DeSantis or something, because these guys are gonna be like, nah, we not doing it, and he knows that. So he's trying to get those standards in place before anybody else is voted out or before we get a new president. And that's why I call him Cobra Commander, because he's thinking way ahead of style. I'm telling you. Shout to SP to Dawn. He said cars are getting 60 miles per hour and 60 miles per gallon in the 90s. Just ask the government what happened to the people that made that happen. Woof. Woo. Because the government was big on fueling. Or we was an oil country then. Now look like they're trying to do something different. And this is very interesting. I say, for the most part, you got to say to yourself, if he knows it's already on course, why does he want it more aggressive? I didn't hear nothing about talking about, it's about nature and this, that, and the third. No, it's about lining his pockets. He's Cobra Commander. He's greedy. He's greedy, I'm telling you. And not for nothing, those cars are not appealing. I don't care what nobody's saying. If you own a Tesla, don't forget, call up 516-206-0711 because I want to ask you what's wrong with you. How could you buy one of those? But in the meantime, I don't know, man. I don't know. This guy's playing dirty pool, and he's trying to really eliminate these other car brands. That's why I got to give a shout out to Toyota, because they was 100% right. He said, listen, Akito Toyoda, at that time, he was the chairman, CEO of Toyota. He said, we are not going to move fully into electrification, because one thing that he's learned is that when people are forced to do something, they don't want to do it. And he's 100% right. I do not want an electric vehicle. I don't want that. I don't want that. Maybe y'all do. And if you do, drop it in the comments if that's really where you at. But I'm not rocking with it. So it's very interesting, to say the least. I think that ultimately he's pushing because he knows if this administration is voted out, and it looks like there's a good chance it is, that he won't get what he wants. That he a greedy mother lover. Yo. I'm gonna tell you, kid, greedy vato, homie, crazy. But in the meantime, more Tesla news. Like I said earlier, Elon Musk says Tesla dug its own grave with the Cybertruck, and it looks like the first deliveries are supposed to happen November 30th. However, it looks like they're running into a lot of issues. Shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Don't forget to drop your name in the comments so we can shout you out. Shout to Jessica Grandy. She says, so are they doing it to move away from using gas? What's the end game? How are they making more money lining their pockets? Okay. That's a very interesting question, and we're going to jump right into that, too. Shout to Zoom for Zoom. He said only electric vehicle I own is a lawnmower, and that is... I get right, yeah. That's about the only way you're gonna get me. Get me on some household products, and even then, it gotta be battery powered, because I ain't charging it. But in the meantime, shout to Dr. Phil. He says shouts to the cyberpunk that had to get towed off the charger because it was bricked early. That's what I'm talking about, man. And when them cars break down, ain't nothing you could do with them. Right, there was a Cybertruck in the gas station that had to get towed away because nobody knew. This is what I'm saying. And then when they break down, you can't put them into tow mode. And when you can't put them into tow mode, that's like dragging an 8,000-pound weight. Ain't happening, bro. Ain't happening. Better eat your Wheaties, kid. Word, early. Shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Don't forget, drop your name in the comments so we can shout you out. Shout to Dr. Phil. Shout to SP. This is how it's going down out here. Now, to answer Jessica Grandy's question, they're not really do. So we already know that we do have as the United States, we do have a dependency on a lot of these places that produce oil, right? We do produce some of our own, but the bulk of it come from overseas imported, right? Now, if they could get away from that, we could keep all the money in our own pockets if we could electrify and use electrification to run these cars. So they back it because they feel like they can save and they can reduce their dependency on people. Shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Don't forget, drop your name in the comments so I can shout you out. In the meantime, it looks like the other way that they're going to be lining their pockets is just the sheer taxes from these things. And then the credits that they're going to charge the other car companies who cannot produce these cars. But the question is, can the people afford these cars? No. Interest rates are higher. Interest rates are crazy right now. Not the price of autos is going up. You cannot expect people to want to buy these things. And not only when you buy an electric car, let's say you don't hook a base station to your house, you got to go somewhere else to charge it. And this is what I mean. When you go to some low income neighborhoods, they don't even have charging stations. How you going to tell me we ready for this in the next 5 years and you still got projects in New York City with crazy old 70-year-old boilers, steam heat? Come on, bro. We got so much other things we got to fix other than this. And that's why I laugh at a lot of this administration, because they're not really paying attention to what matters. Look at the people. They're taxing you without taxing you. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous out here. And Elon Musk is only part of it. I can't front. This dude done tried to take over the whole automotive world. And I find it crazy that somebody that doesn't really make cars, because I don't consider these things cars, man. They're refrigerators with wheels, man. I'm telling you, it's out of control. But if you own one, give me a call, man. Call up here, 516-206-0711, because I want to find out what made you buy this thing. What made you? Do you like it? Do you like the way it looks? Is it the electric thing? Because you got a better electric car. Like I'm trying to understand like where it was going with that. But in the meantime, a lot of other things are happening in this automotive world that is actually getting a lot better. And it looks, and I don't want to get into it too crazy. So you know what? I'm not going to jump all the way in because we're going to save that for our tech talk. That's going to be interesting. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about this one too. It looks like Honda revives the Prelude as an electric car in Tokyo. We talking about it. Shout to SP to Don. He said, I just imagine Elon coming out of court and just screaming, Cobra. I'm telling you, man. Cobra Commander. Shout to Militime NYC. You already know what it is. He is Cobra Commander, in my opinion. So it looks like Honda revives the Prelude as an electric car concept in Tokyo. Now, before we even jump into all of this, the Japan Mobility Show has so many different winners. And like I said, ain't nobody here rocking with an EV. So, and this is a concept. So let's hope I don't know if it's gonna be gas powered or whatever. I can't lie. Even though I don't rock with EVs, these are the kind of EVs that are going to beat Tesla out. If you get a chance, look up EV Prelude so you can see it for yourself. The pictures are crazy. The way it looks is nice, although it is electric. And that's just the part I'm not feeling. So you won't get a buyer out of me. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are looking for better looking electric cars. I was saying this to S.I Shawn the other day. I was like, why is it that they like, it's like they over design them or they under design them. You never see one that's just right. And they're hideous. The Honda Prelude, this one right here, I was shocked. And it just lets you know that's where Honda's going. They don't have a choice. The way every government is right now, EU, in Europe, they acting like this. In America, these are their biggest markets. They don't have a choice but to go electric. What's funny was I read one of the comments on Honda, on Honda's Instagram page. Had me in full tears, man. You had this old man. He said, I loved Hondas since the S600 and I've been owning Hondas ever since. He said, but I'm going to tell you, these last couple of years, they really, really been looking bad. And people was commenting under his post like, why would you say that? And you know what he said? He said, when I die, I'm going to invite Honda to my gravesite so they could let me down one more time. Man. I was like, yo, that's pure hatred. He's upset with them. And that's what I'm saying. When you see some of these cars now, I don't know, man. This EV thing, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't think it's bad enough. Honda said they would never make another 2-door. Y'all remember that? That's why the Type R is 4-door. They would say they would never make another 2-door, nothing. Like even the SI, the 2018, 2019 was the last 2-door car you're going to see from Honda. Shout out to Jessica Grandy. She said the hybrids and the EVs are the same. So no. Hybrids, if we got to go anyway, hybrid I think is the better way. Reason being is because hybrid still has a gas engine and it has batteries. So, for instance, with a hybrid, when you pull up to the light, the car shuts off and it's running on the EV battery. But when you get over a certain amount, when you take off and you're in a certain amount of RPM, the engine comes back on. When is the engine most dangerous for the environment? Or so they say. When is it the most dangerous? When it's at idle. So what it does is it shuts off and it runs on the electric battery until it gets over a certain speed, and then the gas engine kicks in. So the hybrid is a mix between the gas engine and battery, where the EVs are just strictly battery. And that is crazy. Shout to Darth Spalding, said he's in the building. What's good, my dude? Yo, and here's another like caveat that they're not thinking about. Over the week, New York had 300 electric scooters found in a warehouse, brand new, not even plugged up, some of them, on fire. This is where these things get dangerous. And people fail to realize that. You can't, even cell phones. They tell you don't charge your phone and fall asleep with it in the bed with you. You might wake up with a burnt cheek. You might wake up with the thing bursting into flames. When they first started really kind of introducing these batteries where, you just charge the phone and you don't take the battery out, that Note, what was that, the Note 7? They was blowing up for no reason. You had to send it back. They said, if you don't send this phone back, we're going to cancel your service. And this is how they get down, y'all. This is how they getting this out here, man. This is very interesting. But it looks like Honda's going to they preview the upcoming sporty EV. Shout to Darth Spalding. He said going fast. He said going fast is a thing of the past. Now it's going to be all about the driving experience. This is true. But that right there, what you just said, is true for true automotive or vehicular people that's into autos. It's gonna be for us. We the ones that's gonna be wanting the driving experience because that's what we miss. When we want a manual car, that's what we miss. We want the driving experience, but you got a lot of people who don't want that. You got a lot of these young kids that don't even want to drive. How's that? They rather be chauffeured around everywhere, and that's out of control. And that's what the automotive field need to really pay attention to. Is that a lot of these kids don't even want to drive. They want to be driven. And they ain't got no money. Because we already know in order to be driven, you got to have a lot of money. But I don't think going fast is a thing of the past. But I think the driving experience is definitely going to be rated higher. Because I'll tell you right now, if it's one thing I love, is a good drive. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to Dawson. He said exactly. Driverless cars are going to be in the future fast. That's a fact. Nobody wants to drive anymore. They feel like they could do so many different things. Yo, I could be on TikTok instead of driving. I could be eating instead of driving. And you know what you got to blame that on? Like you said, the driver's experience. A lot of these big city places where you want to go 2 miles, it take you 4 hours to get there. It's ridiculous. Like the city. Then on top of that, you want to slow the speed limit down even more and then tax you for it? Come on. This is what it is. This is what it is. I'm not looking forward to it. I will hold on to my gas power. They're going to have to pull my keys from my dead cold hands before I give up mine. It is what it is. The game console age has arrived. That is a fact. That is a fact. The game console age has arrived. A lot of these guys now, a lot of these kids now, like I said, they've played the games and the video games, and they're good with that. But driving in real life, nah, they don't want nothing to do with it. And then furthermore, look at what they producing now. It's just, like I said, for Honda to do this is like a kick in the face because they did say that they would never, ever, ever, ever go two-door again. And look at this. They went two-door and they went sport coupe. But you gotta compromise and get an electric vehicle. I'm not doing that. I don't care. I'm not saying the car's ugly because it looks good. But why have a hood so big when there's nothing there? It's nothing. You open it up, it's like the Wraith. What you see is electric bolts shooting around. Nah, man, I'm good. I don't want that, man. I don't care. I don't care how fast you make it. I don't care. I don't want it. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to Jessica Grandy. She said, what advice would y'all give a brand new driver? Because I'm trying to hit these streets. The best advice that somebody gave me being a brand new driver is that the only way you're going to get good is by being in the seat. At the end of the day, you got to drive. And as long as you drive, you'll get better. But you got to drive. You got to spend that time. When I first got my CRX, I used to go out at night with nobody. I would drive down to the Verrazano, turn around and come back. That was my thing because that was me trying to learn the car. I remember because I didn't start out driving manual. I learned after a while, but I had the cab time. The more you do something, the better you are at it. So that's what I would say, Jessica Grandy. Make sure you put in that cab time and you will be just fine. Trust me. Shout out to my guy, Darth Sport. He said the armed forces are looking for kids that know computers and how to fly a drone when that's the future. But you got to be worried about that too because that means that everybody will be experiencing war from their living room. And we won't be careful about the damage that we causing, man. This is definitely crazy. It's definitely crazy. Shout out to Dawes. He said car companies are making less manual shift vehicles, basically computers on wheels. And we talked about that too. Talking in GutterballRally, the community, was actually talking to one of the members. Won't say the name, but he actually said that manual is for heritage cars, and that the automatic transmissions with the dual clutches, they're faster. This is true. There's no way we can refute that. But it really comes down to the driver. Because if they made more advancements on manual, trust me when I tell you, people will be driving them. And I think that that's something that a lot of people are not saying. When it comes down to automotive dual clutch, it's faster because they worked on it. They didn't work on the manual. The best you're going to get is max rev. That's it. But if they do, oh, man, it'd be great. Trust me. Shout out to Zoom for Zoom. He said, my advice is don't expect everybody to do what you think they should. Don't think right of way is a law. It's just an educated suggestion. That's what I'm talking about, too. Watch out for the idiots. Watch out for those that don't pay attention, man, because there's a lot of that going on. Don't forget, if you tuned in, drop your name, drop a like in the comments so we can shout you out. We appreciate everybody who tuned in early Saturday. Now we get down here, man. It's definitely crazy out here. I would say one more thing when it comes to driving. Do yourself a favor and get out of the city with it. That's another thing. Got to get out of the city because city driving don't do nothing but make you hate it. It don't do nothing but make you hate driving. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the people now don't want to drive. It's those ones that live in the city. Shout out to SP. He said, not for nothing. Don't think for 1 second that technology in the Tesla is the tech that their namesake was vested in. Tesla was trying to give everyone free electricity. I'll leave it right there. That's a fact. A lot of people don't realize that. His name was Vladimir Tesla. Yeah, he definitely was trying to do a lot more. Shout to Ace One. He said Carolina's calling. That's a fact. Shout to my guy Reeps. He said, nope, sorry. Auto will always be faster, but manual makes you feel more connected. That's actually up for debate, my friend. But you lucky. That's not the argument today. You won't bait me into this. Reeps. I hear you. But today's argument is, what horsepower numbers are respectable these days? What's respectable? What do you hear and you go, wow? What do you hear and say, eh? And what do you hear and say that's not enough? Honestly. And what's those engine builds that you Nikola Tesla, that's his name. And what's those real engine builds that you like, you know what? I'm with it. And let's get something straight, y'all. Auto is faster now. And that's because they put work into them. They did. They put work in them to make them better, because when they just came with one little torque converter, you had to dump the gas and then rev the way out and then drop the way back to 2,000 RPM. It's no way they was faster. This is going to be a wild debate. That's what I'm talking about. Shout to Marlon. He said drive a manual. That's a fact. And shout to Zoom for Zoom. He said, oh boy, this is going to be a wild debate. What horsepower numbers are respectable these days? I need to know that. The last time I've been to a dyno show, which was crazy, you had a super in there that was putting out 1,300 horsepower. I was like, that's extreme. Crazy, in my opinion. That engine was fighting to get out of that car. And I think at that point, I was like, wow, that's a lot. But then you had a Porsche that laid down 1,200. And it's like, yo, those numbers is crazy. But what's respectable? When's the last time you went to a car meet? Guys like, yo, bro, I did everything I could do to my car. I done put the front mount, the bigger turbo. I went and got a tune. And guess how much I'm making? And he say to you, yeah, I'm making 400 wheel horsepower. Does that move you? Does that move you? Shout to Reeves. He said horsepower don't mean nothing. Whoa. Now, why you say that? You have to put that in the comments why you say that too. But in the meantime, I'm gonna say, I guess it really depends on the power plant stock. I'm gonna lead it off. Shout to Dawson. He said, at the horses, how stable are those cars off the line? All those horses, right. But that's another thing. Then the Porsche dropped $1350 after the Super. Yes, we use all there. I'm going to set it off with this. What power plant does your car come with already? Now, I'm from the Honda community where, it's engine swap city. I don't think I know any other brand of automotive other than maybe Nissan that does more swaps than Honda. We're going to keep it a buck. Shout to Reeps. He said, I bet it put down 1,300 but get beat by a 700 horsepower car, depending on what you driving. This is why the horsepower numbers are something to behold. Because I'm going to be honest with you. You can have a Hellcat versus an all-wheel drive 600 horsepower Civic and lose. But if that Hellcat is putting up 1,500, he's going to walk that Civic. And it's what it is. It's very interesting. You know what I mean? But shout to Ace. He said 250 plus is a respectable stock number. We're going to take a vote on that, man. I want y'all to drop that in the comments. What's respectable? I'm writing that down, as a matter of fact. Where my pen at? Because it's going to get interesting in here today. Sean says 250 plus is respectable for a stock car. I think a stock car these days, if you're talking about its performance, it has to be 300 and better. The only reason my Type R appealed to me is because it said 306 horsepower. I said, know what? Me I rock with that one, yeah? Me I rock with it. So, listen, I need to know what y'all think is more respective horsepower numbers, man. And that's definitely going to be an interesting conversation. Now, when we talk about horsepower numbers, horsepower debates, obviously we're going to start getting into engines. And when you get into the engines, man, oof. That's a dark road. That is a dark road. Shout to SP said horsepower means nothing if you can't put it down. Example, the Mustang been struggling since day one. And shout to Dawes Ford, the horsepower has to be respectable to the weight of the vehicle. Shout to Phil, he said depends on the size, weight of the car. Does it? Does it? Let's see. When the Hellcat first came out and they was preaching 707 horsepower, were y'all impressed or nah? I was impressed. You don't have too many stock cars that's in that price range that come with that kind of power. But I digress. I want to hear what you guys think. And certified car guys and girls, stand up. You already know what it is, man. You know where to find us. Don't forget, I would say the size and the weight of the car definitely plays a major part in the race. But we talking about horsepower. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It really does. You can have a lot of horsepower for a small car and just get flat out beat by a car that may be bigger, way more, but has more power. Let's be honest here. Shout out to Dawes Ford. He said I was impressed with the Hellcat because that was factory sealed. That's a fact, and that's where I'm going with it. That's exactly where I'm going with it. Horsepower wars. Y'all not telling me nothing, man. What are respectable numbers these days? I know you cats, I know all of y'all are like, I'm about to see the comments flood up because it's true. I was looking at a BMW M competition from M Life. These guys are actually up the block for me. Their shop is about 6 blocks away from me. Love to have them on the show. That'd be great. I'll try. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some credibility in the BMW community. And you already know we was kicking dirt on him a little while ago. But, he has the fastest M out there. I think that thing is putting about 1,300 horsepower. And he said 908. And he said they beating cars. They ran a 9.52. I'm going to find out exactly what the horsepower numbers are on that. But horsepower wins races, man. Well, torque wins races. Don't get me started. Horsepower sells cars. But what horsepower numbers are respectable? What's respectable? What's those numbers where you see them and you're actually like, yo, I'm impressed? That's the bigger question. And in the meantime, we're going to talk about HPA Motorsports. It looks like HPA Motorsports begins production of a 50-unit Volkswagen Golf R with a VR6 turbo engine early. And that's coming with 550 horsepower. Is that respectable? And this is why I say the horsepower in something this small, it's respectable. My opinion. Oh, Rally Radio, who we got in the box? Oh, Jay, what it is? Let us know if you can hear the callers in there, y'all. Let me know if you can hear the caller. Drop it in the comments. What's good, Jay? Okay. But in the meantime, you reached the right place, Rally Radio. We see you out there making all these carbon fiber pieces, and I'm loving it. Listen, Jay, we got a war going on in here because now, hold on. Reap said a Honda Civic all-wheel drive versus a 3000 Camaro, and the Camaro got killed. Okay. And shout out to Darth Sportman. Oh, they said they can't hear the caller. All right. So they can't hear. I don't know what's going on with that. Hold up, Jay. We're going to see if we can figure this out. In the meantime, though, shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Give me 2 seconds, y'all. We're going to try to fix this. We're going to fix this right now. Let's see. Can y'all hear the caller now? Say something, Jay. I can't hear the caller now. All right. In the meantime, though, I'll definitely say this much. When it comes down to like big numbers, big horsepower numbers, I believe you can't beat it. But when I hear 550 horsepower, I'm impressed. Can't lie.
But you know what it is that we're looking at it because you and I, we are of the old school. So,
right.
I feel like we're like 500 for us. That is impressive.
Right.
But you got to think car manufacturers nowadays, 500, most cars could like breathe 500, no problem.
That's a fact.
Like we've gotten numb to that. It's like, I feel like it's like the super effect where it's like, oh, it makes 1,000. Great. Yes. So does everyone else,
Facts. They can hear you now, Jay. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. So
what's going on, Rally Radio? How y'all doing today?
Says shout to everybody. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. You know how we do. We fix problems on the fly. We true mechanics here. But with that being said, now say that again, Jay. One more time. You said that the horsepower numbers. One more time.
Horsepower numbers. It depends on who you're asking, right? Mm-hmm. You and I, we are from the old school, so for us seeing 500 horses in just anything, that is impressive.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Right.
But, we kind of have, like I said, what we have nowadays is the super effect, which is you can make 100, you can make 1,000. All right, well, everyone can do that now. Right. We've gotten numb to just high numbers. Like, oh, this makes 700 horses. I built it to a 700 horsepower car. Cool. So does a Hellcat, and that comes with the warranty.
Yes.
Which I'm not going to hold you. Like, that is kind of impressive that you can buy. You could right now walk into Chevy, buy yourself a near 800 horsepower, let's call it a supercar because it is.
Yes.
Corvette. Buy that, come with the warranty. God forbid something goes wrong with it, you just bring it back to the dealer.
Bring it right back. And I love that. That is ridiculous.
You got to think back in the days, like, you were sacrificing AC. You had to get poly bushing. You had to sacrifice everything but your spine to make that kind of power and to keep it going. Now it's just like you could just go down to the dealer and just easy plug and play.
And not only was you sacrificing your comfortability, you were sacrificing your warranty. Your warranty was through.
You were sacrificing safety because you had to give up a lot just to make that kind of power. But I mean, it is what it is. That's just like, that's just how do you call it? That's just the automotive life just growing on us,
Wow. Shout to Draco. Draco be having some. Let me tell you, Draco be out here working, and every time he be having an update, it be crazy. He said, not to cut you, OG update. Make sure your gas gauge works Almost got a new fuel pressure regulator, and I had low fuel. That's crazy. Shout to Draco. Shout to Draco for putting that work in. Yeah, Jay.
You know what? I actually got a story about that. Back in my, I'm saying now, back in the old days, like I think 2012. Yeah, 2012 when I had my Mitsubishi Starion, I didn't know the gas gauge didn't work. So I'm going up I was going to Lincoln Tech at the time. So early in the morning, driving, all of a sudden the car decided to stall out on me, thinking like, oh, I thought I blew like a coupler or something like that, and ended up accidentally on the news because I'm causing like traffic at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
My homegirl calls me up. She's like, "Oh, I see you're late." I'm like, "How do you know I'm late?" "Oh yeah, I see you on the 7 o'clock news pushing your car down the van."
See, and that's another thing. Like we could talk about the sacrifices of horsepower because plenty. I've driven cars with no heat, no AC. I've driven cars with one seat. I've driven cars with no back seat. We've done it all. I've driven cars that were considered unsafe. You could smell the gas in the car. Yes, I've done it. But in the middle of all of that, the horsepower numbers, are they respectable? Like when I hear, like I said, like it's funny that you brought that up, right? It's like now the first thing we want to hear is the horsepower. That's why I'm like, God's saying, oh, it don't count. I don't know. Because the first thing you want to hear out of the car is how much power. How much power? How much power?
Oh yeah, you hear how much power it is, but then people also forget about what type of platform we're talking about. So we hear 300. That's like, oh, cool. You make as much as a Maxima now, I guess. That's nice.
It's hilarious.
But then you forget like 300 in a bubble. That's fast. That's very fast.
It's respectable in your opinion.
It's respectably quick. The thing is that we gotten so numb to just like power and numbers that we just, like for us, it's like, oh, that's cool, I guess.
Right.
I mean, look at like, you know what it is? I feel like look at the like you were saying before, the BMW crowd.
Right.
Like if you were to take like the current M3 or M4 and take that back 20 years ago, that is witchcraft.
That's a fact.
That is witchcraft. All you have to do is just plug it in. Congratulations, you just bumped up an extra 100 extra horses, which I'm not gonna lie, 340 people out here are running my ish.
Really?
Hey, listen, man. Look, I know where I can take my L's where I can get them.
And you want to laugh, right? And that was really where I was going with it too. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Don't forget, drop your name in the comments so we can shout you out. That B58 engine changed a lot.
That B58 will sneak you. I will tell you this right now as someone who has won some and lost some. Listen, I will admit to my L's, but hey, listen, they are respectably fast.
They are respectively fast. Now, when we talk about them, right? We talk about the B58. It was a 20% increase in boost from the N55 predecessor that came before it, right? So those numbers, we was like, Now, when you look at some of the specs of this engine, right? Straight six, turbo, revving out at 7,000 RPM, closed deck, aluminum head, right? It has all the makings of being nasty. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, let's put it this way. All of those ingredients you just put together, what does that remind you of? Of a certain Japanese engineered masterpiece.
It reminds me of, I hate to say it because S.I Shawn not here, but that Supra, that 2J, it sounds just like it. I'm sorry.
I mean, like, come on. Like, you can't tell me it's not. Like, it's very heavily BMW took the engine and studied it. I feel like the N54, the N54 was the test bed.
Yes.
The 55 was, hey, let's make this efficient.
Yes.
The B58 was basically the final form of, let's give you power but efficiency.
and they came in a lot of different like specs. It came in a 322 horsepower and 332 pounds of torque. And you got some of them 335, 335. And then the further they went up, like once they got to the S58, it was 453, 457 foot-pounds of torque. These are impressive numbers.
Of course. There's a reason why they are still the kings of making straight sixes.
So Ace One said 250 plus. What are you gonna go on record as saying, Jay? I'm gonna put you on the spot early. What are you
okay.
What are you going with that where you hear them numbers and you go, that may kick somebody in there? I like that. Like we could get into the car. You can even tell me the car. What car
You know what?
putting out what?
The only car I can honestly see I can go, that's impressive in is a Miata.
Whoa. I hear you on that one. AKA the broke man's S2000, right? Like, man, I love him too, though.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think about, okay, look, man, it's a Miata, because how are we in the year 2023 and these things still don't make 200 horses?
But you know what, though? You know what? They still with the pure driving experience, and I think that is the reason why they're still around. That is going to be that right now is all it is. It's the experience. I looked at Throttle House and I see that he has a newer Miata too, and I'm like, wow, who really goes to the Mazda dealership in Boston? But they have a cult following.
They got a following. I mean, hey, look at it like this. I looked at a few Miatas. I mean, of course, I can't. I will wear a Miata because reasons,
right?
But listen. I feel like, and this is just coming from me.
Yes,
we're in the year of our Lord, 2023. Give us something over 200. Come on, Mom, to know you could do it.
So here's my thing now. Now, when they go over that, they competing with other cars, and this is why I say the horsepower numbers have to be respectable. Shout to Dr. Phil. You already know what it is. He said, nah, 230 horsepower out of an NA4 and the BRZ is impressive. When the S2 and the S2K did it, it was revolutionary. This is true, but but
remember the S2K. The S2K was also like Honda's answer to what they were doing in F1,
right? And not only that, it also held down the 10 horsepower per liter thing that seemed like Honda really wanted to keep. They was pushing the car at 2.4 liters at 240 HP, high revving, beauty.
No, listen, it is a 1-to-1 masterpiece. Wait, by the way, I got to get your hot take on it. I know you saw it. What do you think about the Prelude that just dropped from Honda?
Yo, we were just wait. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Hot take on this Prelude. Hot take. Are you ready?
Go for it.
The hot take is right now that Honda Prelude, if Honda comes out with it, first off, it's almost sacrilegious because I don't want to talk about an electric vehicle. I really don't. I really don't. But if they was to come out with it, I believe they would kick Tesla right in the nuts.
Oh, absolutely. It did the thing that Tesla couldn't do, and that's give you a model coupe.
Yo, Marlon said, I used to like you, bro. He said,
I'm just saying, look, Listen, I already confessed to my sins on the group. Hey, if you know, you know.
Yo, Jay,
I'm not gonna lie.
You said something that stood. Let me tell you, when I looked at the Tokyo Auto Show. Oh, we got another call on the other side too. Call right back. Yo, I gotta say that Toyota MR2. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what's powering it. But oh my God.
Bro, come on. Listen, that thing is fire, bro. Like, you can't tell. Listen, look at it. It's coming. I think those are Michelin Pilot Sports.
Oh, my goodness.
You saw the size of the brakes?
Yo, the brakes.
That is a track toy.
Did the interior? Did you see they had race seats in there?
It had some new type of Recaros I have never seen a day in my life before.
Shout to the caller, whoever called. Jay is on the phone. Give us a call right back because I want to hear your perspective too. with that being said, Jay, now you got me up here talking blasphemous.
I mean, look, if you listen, hey, okay, but the question I have, because I always ask with everyone is, all right, listen, if Honda was to release that, we don't even know what the spec of that car is. No one knows. It's a concept.
Hopefully it could be gas powered. We got that caller again. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, we don't know the spec of the car. We just all we know about it is it's just called the Prelude.
Yes,
that's it. We we don't know what's coming with it. We don't know if it's going to be an ICE engine. We don't know if it's going to be a hybrid. You know, my thing is all right. Well, what engine do you think is going to be in it? Personally, personally speaking, I was like, what do you even slot it in between? Because if you're making more than a Type R, you're going to go for that over the Type R. If you make it less than a Type R,
man, if they put a turbo K20C1 in that,
it's not even impossible.
It's not impossible. Shout to the caller. I feel bad. They don't call twice, Jay. I feel horrible. Jay, you got me out here admitting that I was looking at. I don't know if it's electric. We're not going to talk about it anymore. Thank you, Jay. You got me up here copping.
Listen. That thing gave you feelings that you didn't think you had.
Yo.
So I said the same thing about that new Toyota, and oh God, you know what? Look, I don't know what it is.
And not for nothing, Jay. This is where the real automotive people are gonna kick Tesla down because they still know how to make one thing about them Teslas, they all look like frogs. I'm sorry. And if you own one, I just gotta say it.
They have a uniform look to it, but I mean, like you got people like Hyundai, Toyota. Hell, look, I'm even going to say right now, Hyundai has been running Teslas-ish for like a good couple years right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, yo, Jay, we're gonna get off the phone. Whoever was calling, call back. I want to get your perspective. Yo, Jay, we appreciate you, and we still got a box for you that we got to send out there because we still need some information. We got to get a video as to how this carbon fiber is made. Carbon fiber. You know what I'm saying?
But, by the way, I will try to make it out there by December.
Oh, boy. Sounds good. Yeah. Sounds like that's going to be our next go-kart track day. Not our next one. We're going to have a couple in between there, man. Been falling off on the events. We got a couple things, but if you can listen, we gotta get to the carts if we can't get to the track. You already know what it is, man. But
you know how it is.
Yes. With that being said, Jay, appreciate the phone call, my brother. Appreciate you for tuning in. And we're gonna see who this next call is. I hope they call back. They called twice already. I feel horrible.
But go ahead, get to the next caller, man. Listen, I wanted to drop in, see how y'all doing. Shout out to the audience out here, Rally Radio.
Yo, and not only that. They are cursing you right now.
Hey, listen. I know I'm getting blasted in the comments, but y'all saw that same concept and said the same thing.
Yo, I saw it on Ratty's rides, and I was like, "Ooh, turn it off."
Like, yeah, exactly. Listen, I have confessed my sins.
Well, at least you being honest, man, because I wasn't gonna talk about it, but then I said, yo, you can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. And it was burnt orange, autumn color with blue seats.
Orange, bro. This looks like a track toy. This doesn't even look like a regular production car.
Look like I was more than impressed, man. Yo, Jay, thanks for tuning in as usual, my brother. And you already know what it is, man. We know where to find us. You know where to find us. We know where to find you. And when you get out here, in November, you need to let us know what day exactly we can set it all up and get the whole crew out there. You know what it is.
Of course. Yo, listen, everyone, have a good day. Drive safe and keep that foot to the gas.
And that's a fact. And don't forget, Jay does not represent Rally Radio.
Oh,
he likes that EV. I just thought it looked nice. No, I'm messing around with you.
No, I got you.
All right,
listen,
Jay.
guys, have a good one.
All right, kid. Peace. Later.
Right.
Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Call back. Please call back. I want to get your take. In the meantime, we're getting right back to these horsepower numbers, man. Respectable. 230 horsepower out of an NA4. That's good. What V8 numbers are respectable in your opinion? See, that's where we start getting into these astronomical numbers and then the twin turbo sixes. And the reason I want to bring that up also is because Dodge, Stellantis rather, is really talking about they're going to put a gas-powered twin-turbo 6 in the new Charger. I need to know y'all thoughts on that. It's actually very interesting. But to get back to the horsepower numbers, and when you, like I said, when you start really looking into it, you got to say to yourself, BMW for the past, I want to say from 2015 on, and we've all seen that one stock F30 or whatever. That guy, he dominated the race scene with that car for a minute. He was beating GTRs. It's like, yo, it wasn't the transmission or was it the power? I don't know. Maybe he's small. He's a slim too. So maybe the fact that he don't weigh a lot helped him too. Because I know another drag race when we was younger, when we was out there, you had a drag racer, Booger. He weighed maybe 100 pounds, but he was manning them Civics, and because of that, it was like he was almost unbeatable. One of the first ones I ever seen with an H22 in an EK turbo. You still don't really see those too much. Not too many people turbocharge on H22s, but I will say horsepower numbers that are respectable for me. Let me see. Horsepower numbers, if it's a twin turbo 6, it has to be over 500. That's stock. They probably 500 to 600, and I'm oohing and on. Like it's pretty respectable right there. You feel what I'm saying? Turbo 4 gotta be 400 and better. 4 to 450 is a range where a turbocharged 4-cylinder is really respectable. Now, if we're talking about a turbo all-wheel 4-cylinder, it definitely got to be 450. I got to see those kind of numbers. Now, we step to the V8. I would be impressed between 650 and 800. Those are impressive numbers. Shout to Marlon. He said, me posting the waiting emoji for go-kart. Yo, we got to get back to it because we got some scores to settle out there. Where's Tonio at, man? I tell you, man, I'm still like this. I thought I had a concussion walking out of there. Shout to SP. He said, when I think of horsepower, I think of displacement. Whew, it's a very strong statement. Because a lot of people, to me, the turbo is the great equalizer. However, it is a process, and it does, in my opinion, it can wear on the car where a V8 is just naturally about it. But impress me. Let's see what we got. SP says, when I think of horsepower, I think of displacement. At 2 liters, you got to be doing more than 200. That is a fact. Yes, the caller is back. Rally Radio, who we got in the box?
What up? You know what it is? You know who it is?
Yo, sound like my man Draco was popping.
Yeah.
Yo, Draco, we got to clear. Come on, we got to clear up some misconceptions and some speculations.
Oh yeah.
Horsepower numbers, baby. Where are we?
All right. Like I said, I typed it in before. It depends on the engine.
Okay.
If you got a 198 stock and you bump that up to 3, yeah, that's impressive.
Okay.
So imagine you doing Hellcat numbers in a Yugo. That's impressive.
That's more than impressive. That's actually a death sentence. But continue on.
them dudes in PR, they do it all the time. They got the small little engine and the starlets, and they be wilding.
They throwing them rotaries in there. But
there you go. I'm afraid of rotaries, so.
I tell you what. Me too. I don't know if I could mess with one. You got to have a specialist in your corner to really deal with one of them. But I will say this, however, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to horsepower, there's just certain. When I hear that a car has a certain engine inside of it, I'm already thinking about a horsepower number, right? So if I hear, let's put it out there, right? I hear twin turbo 6. What's the first number that come to your mind?
5 and better.
5 and better. Got to be 500.
Yeah.
When you hear turbo 4, what's the first thing that come to your mind?
Yeah. A little lower, like a 380.
Okay.
Reliably.
Shout to Reeps. He said there are so many factors in the question. Power to weight ratio is a major factor. Continue on.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, horsepower is horsepower.
Right.
But you're talking about winning at the end of the track. Then the weight comes into it. Driver skill comes into it. If it's standing still, is one story.
Right.
And if you're running, is another story.
Okay.
So, like, for instance, you could have these boys run around the Hellcats all day long.
Yes.
But if they don't know how to swim, or if they're doing donuts in the intersection, it ain't worth nothing.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm. So,
That's true. But I will say though, even in a good drag race, I mean, we talking about we running.
yeah.
No sliding, we running. Power to weight ratio obviously is gonna play a factor. But what horsepower numbers, like, let's be honest here. Guy pulls up with a Challenger or a Charger, no Hellcat logos, nothing on the car. He says, "Yeah, my car putting about 450 horsepower." You respecting that out of that car?
Nah, I'll take them.
Yeah, you will respect that?
I'll take them. It depends. You know what's funny? It depends on how he look. If he's young and his seat's all the way back, you know, he got a chew stick or a blunt hanging out of his mouth, I'll take him because to me, he don't look like he can know how to drive.
And you walking him. 2J in the Conquest piece.
Oh,
I'm out of here.
Yes.
You walking.
Yes. The Conquest is about 2,800 pounds, if that.
Oof.
You add another 200 pounds because of the different engine.
Yes.
You good.
Wow.
You good.
So my thing is, there's just certain horsepower numbers that I gotta hear, and that's what I'm trying to. Okay, we know the race. We know the race is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, we've seen all-wheel drive Civics, clapped out Civics, wear cars out, right or wrong.
Beware the bubble Civics, boy. Beware the. I don't even touch them. I put it in reverse at the light. It's like, now you got it.
You got it. Yo, when you look over there, he ain't got no interior. You gotta be careful.
He got no interior. He got holes in his bumper. You just throw it in reverse. As a matter of fact, let me make a U-turn. I wasn't going this way, sir.
Yo, when you hear that he's trying to get he's trying to get his numbers up.
Yeah.
But to me, that's the race. But there's just certain numbers that you hear, you go, nah, I don't even respect that. And that's the answers that I want.
Anything that a Murano can do, that's not respected.
He said a Murano.
If the average grocery getter has that horsepower,
yes.
Yeah, I'm not respecting you.
The average so that's my thing. When it comes down to it, right? There's just certain numbers that we hear that I want to hear. And if you're not making them numbers, I don't care what you're driving. And you know what? You will have to, at that point, you got to hit the track and change. Right. Exactly. You got to show and prove at that point. And that's really where I'm getting at. If somebody shows up with a STI and he's like, yeah, I'm putting 350 to the wheels. Are you impressed?
Nah.
Not really.
Not really.
Because he could get got. He could get got. Or so you think, right?
Or hand grenade his engine trying.
Over ref.
Yeah. Wee pow. And that's it.
And that's what I mean. Now, when you hear a GTR, somebody pulls up with a GTR, and we already know they come stock with about 550, 545, right? And he says, yeah,
it's impressive, but for that car, you're not impressing me because that's what it come with.
Right. But now when he get up there, he say, yeah, I'm putting about 800. Uh-oh. Now we talking.
Now we talking. And God forbid you see beadlocks in the back. Or, in the back.
Right.
Because if it's all four, he didn't do the conversion. But if he's just rear wheeling it, yeah, he know what he's doing. And you're going to have to give him a little respect.
Right. Shout to Reeps. There's so many factors in the drag race question. But I'm just talking about numbers. Like, there are numbers that you hear that automatically trigger the response of respect or no respect.
500 and better, I say. No matter what you have, no matter what car you have. I mean, aside from the supercars.
Right. See how that changes? You see how you said?
Yeah.
Once you
that
get
caveat.
However, that the respect numbers change once the cars is like, let's say for instance, right? Again, we talking about a high-end car, an Audi R8. Guy shows up with an R8, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm putting about $825 down."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, "Oof, it's a little, woo." You know what I'm saying? Those are respectable numbers. But if he pull up and he say, it's pretty much stock, even though those cars are pretty fast, stock. You feel what I'm saying? You just expecting a certain number.
Yeah. Like I said, 500 with a supercar-ish, no GTR or nothing like it. If you come up in an Accord and it's 500, yeah, you got it.
You come up. Yeah. You right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. You show up with a Honda Accord 500. I'm actually nervous. Actually nervous.
Did you see these guys are putting Hellcats in Accords now? I
did not, and that right there. See, that's the kind of stuff right there. That's Forza.
They cut a hole in the hood and everything. There's 2 guys on YouTube that did it. I'm like, how? First of all,
and why?
Second of all,
better yet, right? Not how, not why. Where'd you get the engine from, sir?
There you go.
And where'd you get the mind to make that happen? This is not a Honda anymore, sir. This is not an Accord. This is a drag car, full funny body. Like, come on, bro.
There you go. But I figure the amount of folks these days smacking them up in the next 5 years, there're going to be a lot of engines out there.
Oh yeah. And remember, you can still buy that engine from Dodge.
Yeah.
You could buy the Hellcrate. You could buy the Hellcrate motor and the manual transmission. Believe it or not.
I thought of it, but I ain't that rich.
I tell you what, you get your hands on one of these automatic Charger Hellcats and make one of them, man. That would be a beautiful thing.
That would be crazy, right?
That would be a beautiful to pull up with a manual
what would be
Charger?
Impressive? Because I got to get at you now.
A
Hellcat engine in a CRX.
No, that's not impressive. That's a death trap, sir. That's a death trap. I will say, however, I've seen CRXs. I've seen, there's been 1 or 2 that was done that have V8s in them. Shout to Randall Pierre. He said that's insane. It is. I will say, however, we've seen them over the years. People have been putting V8s in them, and the V8, the engine sticking out. You can't even see around it. I will say for the CRX.
The V8 that Jay Leno had in the Festiva, the Shogun.
Oh, my God, though. Jay Leno. But see, he's a guy that has a plethora of vehicles.
He got the money.
He has the bread. I will say, those are the kind of things that when I see a CRX, it's like, oh, come on. Like you just really, that's the Forza numbers. We're going to put a 5.2 liter V8 in the CRX and you driving in Forza. Nah. When I think of a CRX with high horsepower, I would either think H22, even a J swap, even the V6 J swap, which I've seen and I was like, it's just too much. But the horsepower numbers would be more than, they doing it just to do it. And the horsepower numbers are more than respectable. And at that point, we bringing it to engines.
Yeah. And reliability.
And reliability.
You can make all the horsepower in the world. If you only got 10 passes in the motor, what's the sense?
And you got a lot of, they got a lot of dudes single overhead cam, nitrous, turbo. They don't care. They like, if we blow it up, we get another one.
Yeah. When it blows, they start laughing. Like Brian O'Connor.
Yes.
Dude, I almost had you.
Word. You never had me, right? Shout to Randall for tuning in. We appreciate you early. He said, that's insane. I'm going to tell you this, right? When it comes down to respectable horsepower numbers, at the end of the day, like I said, when you go to a car meet or when you go anywhere where there's autos and you talking to that owner and you say, yo, man, nice looking car, how much you putting down? And he says something that's less than what you're thinking, you like, right or wrong. We only gonna call out the obvious here. You feel what I'm saying? It's Rally Radio.
You could follow the Big Three's old adage, race on Sunday, drive on Monday.
This is true. But then again, and this is why I always said that you need a dedicated car for things.
Right.
I've never been the one to have the Swiss Army knife. Like, even though my Civic Type R can do a lot of different things. It can move any kind of groceries. And you can go out there, track it. You could do a lot of different things with it. However, I always feel like you need to have, your sidearms and stuff like that. But that's neither here nor there, man. Yo, shout to you, Draco, for giving us a call. We appreciate you early. We can't wait to see your build too. Let them know what you building, man. Put it out there. Let them know what you building.
I'm sorry. I got an 88 Chrysler Conquest with a 2JZ GTE swap. R154 trans because I couldn't afford the Get Rag. And about 3,000 to 10,000 watts of music in the back.
When you said 5,000 to 10,000 watts, I was like, I know he ain't. Yeah, I know he ain't trying to make no electric mode in the back. You scared me for a minute. I was like, boy. But with that being said, shout to Draco because he's building something. Yo, Draco, we got a call on the other side. We appreciate you for tuning in. Shout somebody out real quick.
Oh, shout out to everybody. Shout out to S.I with his Conquest hunting. It's a good car. You're going to love it.
Let's go. With that being said, peace. Later. Let's see if we can take this call, yo. Okay. Did we get them? Did they hang up? Call back, caller. If you can, call back. Shout to Ace. He said 500 for anything, either less than a VA for a true respectable cartoon. Call back, caller. With that being said, man, shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. You know how we get down, man. It's the bearded one. We in the building. We having such a great time over here. But we are nowhere near finished, man. It looks like there's a lot of things going on up out here. On top of that, we got other news, other things that's going on that we didn't get a chance to talk about. But, our call is back. Rally Radio, who we got in the box?
Miller Time NYC.
Oh,
Radio.
Miller
Good
Time.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Miller Time NYC. So you heard about the Ford EV F-150 Lightnings? Boy. Be careful.
That's partially why I sent you and the group in your IG handle about the battle between the hybrids, Ford 150, the Dodge, and the Tundra.
Yes.
And
yes.
And what stood out to me was the fact that my man Mr. Kilmore said, "I loves my V8. I loves my V8."
Yo, but this is I'm telling you, it's that's how it is, man. At the end of the day, we love them. But I got a question for you. What horsepower numbers are respectable in your eyes? Respectable.
Well, shout out to your previous caller because he analyzed it to a degree for me because I'm still a baby behind the wheel. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But when it comes to horsepower, it all depends on the vehicle and what it's going to be designed to do. As you previously stated, sometimes you just can't have one vehicle to do everything. Sometimes you need at least another one, so that other one can be whatever you want it to be when your primary vehicle is going to be what it is. But to answer your question,
yes.
God, man. I mean, I would say anything beyond anything over 350.
350.
Because depending on the size of the vehicle,
yes,
some small vehicles are packing some heat.
So I'll say this, right?
Yeah.
You at a car meet. You show up to the car meet. You got your F1. Now you showed it to a pickup truck car meet. Truck meet, excuse me. And you're looking around and you walk up to a guy that happens to have a turbo diesel, right? 2500, 3500 HD. Early, right? And you ask him, hey, man, I know this truck coming with about 500 already. You putting down any, what's your numbers? Ain't say, it's pretty much stock. Are you respecting that? Or do you want to hear more? Like, come on, Miller.
I'm going to respect it. Because let me tell you, I'm going to give you a story. I don't know. I think I told you this. I think I told you this maybe years ago.
Yes.
I was on the Gowanus, and I was trying to get out of this traffic jam that was on the Gowanus.
Mm-hmm.
So I get off, right, and I pull up into an intersection, and it's almost as you described this guy to a T. His truck comes up. Yo, that motor is shaking my truck.
Uh-huh. Wow. Serious.
And I look up. Yes. And I believe it was a Dodge truck. But to me it looked like it looked like it was redone because it didn't have the title on the side, because usually it will have a Duramax or have this and that and the other on the side of the hood.
Yes.
But it didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was sitting at the light. Wow. Like, what?
So
What?
he's telling you right off the rip, right? Like, don't mind the emblems on the side, sir. This thing has more power than you think it does.
Yeah, well, no. When the light changed, I looked up and said, "By all means, brother, you can have this one." And when he took off, he didn't even. I think he just tapped the gas, and it just woke up the entire town. I swear to you.
So first off,
and I was like, go ahead.
I want to give a shout out to all those who wake up the town from the red light. Shout to all of those that take off from the red light and wake up everybody. Yes. I am the dude that run to the window when I hear exhaust. Like, what's that? That's me. Continue on, Miller. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so to answer your question, man, I will be humble and I will sit back and like, okay, you go ahead, young fella.
That's it. Let him have it. Shout to Randall Pierre. He said he wanted to give a call, 516-206-0711. That's the phone number. I'll put it in the comments so you can see it just in case. There you go. Call up number. Go ahead, Miller.
So I was talking with my brother the other day.
Yes.
And because I already gave him, I know he saw your show every once in a while. He's going through some things. So now and then I kick your show up because I was like, look, listen to this guy. He's talking about all the stuff you're talking about. And you know what he told me?
What's that?
And I'm going to go off topic for a brief moment. He told me the first time, because we were actually talking about manuals and automatics.
Yes.
And he told me that he said the first vehicle that he drove was a Porsche. He couldn't tell me which model it was. This was over 40 some odd years ago, kid.
Wow.
Yes.
He got lucky. See, that's a problem though. That's your first experience, and that's we ain't gonna talk too dirty. This is a family show. But could you imagine listen, we got guys and girls here, we adults, I'll cover the kids' ears. Could you imagine your first experience being with a pro? You messed up after that. You messed up because nothing's gonna jump with that. Imagine your first experience being with a pro. You're like, nothing else matters at that point.
Yeah, you there's nothing you can do to impress. That's why he was driving trucks for as long as I can remember, until maybe about 10 years ago or what have you.
Right. But
I bring him up to bring this to you.
Yes.
Because he was telling me. Now, I'm still new.
Yes.
But he was telling me, he said, you can upgrade your engine. And I shake my head and I look at him, to what?
Right.
He said, do whatever you want. Just get longer. Just make sure you get better. Just get better brakes.
He's right though. Make sure you can stop the car.
Yeah.
So with that being said, horsepower numbers in your eyes, right? Let's say 700, 800. That's more than respectable.
At minimum.
Yeah.
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, now that you're bringing up the truck aspect, it's got at minimum 6. At minimum 6.
Minimum
And
600.
anything else is at minimum 6. I mean, because look, I mean, you know me and my stories. Me and I-95 spent a lot of quality time together.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to tell you there were certain parts of certain states where people were just getting on my nerves, and rally radio music was going on, and my foot got a little bit heavy.
Right.
Yo, there were a couple of times when I did Buck 05.
And
Without
that's light work.
Without thinking. Without thinking. Yes.
Light work.
Without thinking.
Let's go.
Yes. So with that, yeah, I would say 6. 6 is a good number.
Let's go. So 600.
6 is a good number.
I want some comments. Shout to Aaron Roy. He said, I thought that was just me still running to the window. Nah, bro. That's me 1,000%. I could be eating dinner. I hear something wild enough and it sounds like it's coming down my block. I'm at the window like how a dog do when you put them in the car and they hanging out I be looking because I need to see.
Well, you know, I mean, if you come out to Little Guyana, aka Lefferts Boulevard, Ozone Park,
early,
basically on 116th Street.
It's like that. It's like that,
dude. All you hearing is that, bro.
I used to live on 121st and Liberty, 5 blocks away. Oh, we got another call.
Probably hear it there.
Let's go, yo, Miller. You know
right,
how we get down. We appreciate you for tuning in, baby.
You are.
You know
yeah, like I text you before, bro. If you want me to be there live, give me 24 hours notice. I will be there, bro.
That's a copy. That's a copy. We're gonna take this call, Miller. Shout to you, Miller Time NYC. We're gonna get back with you.
Enough and more than enough love to GutterballRally.
Let's go.
Shawn, continue to do what you do. Shout out to you. Get your microphone fixed.
Well, look, my microphone working. We changed up the angle a little bit here and there. But S.I be back. He just got some other things he had to handle. You know how that go. But
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With that being said,
brother, be good, be safe. Yes, take care. God bless.
Let's go. All right, Miller. Let's go. Call back. If you can hear me, call back. Call back. I want to get your perspective. Call back. With that being said, man, horsepower numbers. And then, we could definitely say horsepower numbers don't matter. But is that true? Is it? Is it really? In my honest and humble opinion, there's just certain, like I said, when I see certain cars, there's certain numbers I'm already thinking in my head. And if you're past that, I'm really like, oh, gotta be crazy. Because we already know, see, we certify car guys and car girls, right? There's certified car guys and there's certified car girls that's paying attention to us, right? And we know what these cars come with stock. The minute you pull up, I already know what you're driving. If it's manual, I can tell these things. Now, if we walking around in a lot, it's a little different. But so when I see certain things in my head, I'm like, you know what, man? Oh, there we go. There go the caller. Rally Radio, who we got in the box?
How's it going? It's Randall.
Yo, Randall, what's poppin'? Shout to Randall. I believe this is your first time calling.
It definitely is.
Let's go.
Nice to meet you.
Let's go. Nice to meet you. Let's go. I know you know the question, and I know you got an answer. What horsepower numbers are respectable to you these days?
You see, that question's deep. And there's not one size fit all with this question. I think it really does depend on the car and what it's being used for. Example.
Okay.
You got a Miata. Let's say somebody throws an NA K24 in a Miata. That Miata's making 260. First gen Miata too.
Yes.
That Miata's a rocket.
Yes. But when somebody says that to you, right? They're like, listen, let's say you at a car meet, right? Old school Miata, first gen Miata. And he's like, yo, I did a K swap. So in your head, you already kind of, you like, okay, we already know a K swap come with this amount. But now he says, yeah, this K swap is making 320 horsepower. How do you feel about that?
Boy, that's crazy. I don't want to see that Miata on the street or nowhere. 320 in the first gen Miata is crazy.
See, that's what I'm saying. there's when we see a car, whether we want to admit it or not, when we see a car, because we all technical, let's be honest, we all technical. We know the ratings of engines when we hear them. We know the ratings of cars when we see them. We could tell. But when you hear something like that, that's respectable.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So what is your limit where you're like, now what if that same guy, old school Miata, K-swap, and he says he's putting 210 to the wheels? How do you feel about that?
The 210 is going to make me think how he used it. It's a little low for a K, to be honest.
Yes, it is.
Low.
Yes, it is.
Now, what's he doing with it? What's he aiming for? Is he a track day guy? Is he an autocross guy? So now that kind of makes me dig in a little further. What is the car's purpose? Because that same dude with 320, he's probably smoking everybody.
Oh,
he could be only using it for straights.
But what if he shocks you though? like what if you turn around, you see him at the track, you're like, what are you doing here, sir? He's like, yeah, it turns too.
Oh yeah, a drag strip? No, he's getting blown out the water. Now, if it's a track day with turns, he's probably blowing everybody out the water. So
and
that's the kind of.
And that's what I mean about the respectable numbers. Because even what they doing with it, like let's say for instance, 210 is not really low for a K, depending on which one you get, right? If you get the K out of a TSX, the K out of a TSX was about at 160, 180. It wasn't 2 and better. Okay. It was close. 2.4 liter had a little bit more, but at the end of the day, the Type R K20 made the most power at that time, right? Now we have the K20C one that's in the Type R, like what I have, that's putting out 300. And to be honest with you, even when I bought my Type R, it wasn't that the numbers weren't wasn't respectable. It's just that I know the capabilities of the car further,
I feel you.
So now when it comes down to let's say a 350Z, that's a typical track car, right? Right or wrong?
I've wanted that car since it came out 20 years ago.
Early. So with that being said, right? And you hear these kind of numbers, you like, wait a minute, man. You like, listen, if he's not putting 400 in a 350Z, you respecting it?
I would respect how much money he spent to get it to 400 because that's coming with a turbo. And turbos on that car is definitely like $5,000 and up. So I would respect it just for the dedication to get it there because, geez, that engine's expensive. That car's expensive to get that high. Period.
Like regardless of whatever, how much power it makes, you respect the build.
Yeah.
See, you okay. So now I know where you are now. You are definitely certified. He's a certified car guy.
I've been doing this for a while.
He's been doing this for a while. Shout to Don P GXP. He said, I got smoked by a Rev 5.0 on my GXP. It's all good. Whoa. And I'm going to tell you, man, that's where it could get funny too, because now you catch these guys at the red light. You like, yeah, he said he only got 250. He was lying.
bolt-ons in a tune, that could be a whole bottle of nitrous in the back. Don't believe it. Especially if it's a Honda dude. No offense. Especially if a Honda dude tells you,
yes,
probably a lie.
Yo, he's probably lying. He's trying to bait you into a race. And then when he races,
I've seen it live. One of my boys, he raced somebody. I think it was a 7th Gen SI with a K. He said bolt-ons in a tune. Now I saw that race, and it was buses. He put buses on my boy. My boy, I think, had a supercharged at the time.
Ooh.
See, doing some digging. My boy did some digging. Turns out he was on the bottle.
See,
he lied.
He lied. Shout to those who sandbag.
He lied.
Shout to those who lie and sandbag until they get the money out you. Then they like, yo, you know what? Yeah, I was lying. He had the nitrous bottle running under the car. He had the lines, the steel braided lines under the car. Shout to Shadow Gamer. He said 210 isn't low for a K because 160 is stock, right? But that's crank horsepower, not wheel. See, that's what I'm saying. There's just a certain number that you hear and you go like this. okay, that's respectable. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I guess I'm not privy up to the first gen Ks at that point.
But nah, not even. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, first off, to see a K in the Miata to me is impressive because I feel like for whatever reason, Honda motors perform in almost all small cars. I have yet to see a Honda motor in a small car not perform. I remember the first time I seen a Mini with a Type R engine in it, B18C5, and I said, "Wow, man, that's nuts." That's nuts. You feel what I'm saying? They even let you build one in Gran Turismo. Shout to them.
The thing about the Honda engines, they're typically real light, especially with the aluminum, and they respond well to keeping them NA. So you get something like a Mini, Miata, something really small, and you throw that in there, it's a weapon without all the extra weight and complexities of the turbo system and all that. It's a weapon.
See, yeah, you're a track guy. He's a track guy. I can tell. He's a track guy. He says something that a lot of people don't say. Like, listen, at the end of the day, all the other processes is out the window, which is one of the reasons I think why the Porsche is highly sought after. Not necessarily the turbo 911, but just some Porsches, just because they NA and it's just they don't have all of these other issues, which is to me another reason why I love the V8. Even though I have never owned one, I've never put that money up. I did try to put it up for a Hellcat, but it's supercharged V8 we're talking about there. But, and like you said, they get rid of the processes. Just listen, there's no replacement for displacement. Is that what we say?
That's been an old adage. Now these days, everything comes with a turbo, and if you modify it enough, you get more power, but the response not gonna be the same. And I'm a turbo guy. I got a Mazda Speed 3 with a bigger turbo built engine, all that stuff. But I just know the difference. I know. You
know, we had that Mazda 3 as one of our legends of auto here. That was a that. See, what I say is, at the end of the day, when it comes down to building a car, right? Obviously, it's gonna take blood, sweat, and tears to get where you want. And like you said, whatever it is that you're building for your car, hopefully you know, not you, but when you hear God say they built, you like, what does he use it for? But to me, the initial reaction, the initial respect is like, I don't know if I'm really impressed by that. Right or wrong, we all suffer from it because we car guys.
That can happen.
We car guys. So that's really why I wanted to get that. Like, I wanted to get hear what people think. What's respectable when you hear a certain car? When you hear of a Supra 97.
That's what I'm gonna say. Yep. if you hear 350 on the Supra, it's like, yo, what are you doing?
Like, stop wasting time, sir. And get to it.
The bar sets so high on a Supra. It's like anything less than 1,000, it's like you're doing something wrong.
And there you go. And that is what I mean. We just have in our heads, and it's funny, I tell people all the time, we just gear different. We look at everything and want to see how we can improve it, right or wrong. I do it to my refrigerator. Like, how can I improve this refrigerator? You know what I'm saying? It's just how we are. It's how we are. It's just, we built like that. We can't just drive something stock forever. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. If you have a modified tunable car, it can. That's why I got a daily that is, I have no interest. It's automatic. It's whatever. There's nothing for me to do. But let's say I had something with even a hint of aftermarket support. It's over.
It's over. So I'm guessing you don't drive a Honda every day.
No. I do not.
Yo, shout to Randall for calling in. First time caller. Hopefully he's a regular listener. We appreciate you. I appreciate your input. And now that we know you are a track guy, we need some information for the track. I need you and Dr. Phil here, because did you go to the track? Yeah.
Man, Watkins Glen is beautiful. It's a beautiful track.
I saw the videos and I was impressed. I did. I saw the video.
I wish we had this weather. I really wish we had this weather last week, but it has it that it just wasn't like that.
Yes. And you know what I said to myself? I said, when we went to the Dragon's Tail, we had fun, but we couldn't get too crazy because it's wet, right? But could you only imagine, like you said, Watkins Glen, dry, sunny, beautiful, 70, 65 degree day? Oh my God. That's all. I'm going. I told Phil, I said, yo, I don't care this time. I'm going. I'm bringing the Type R. It is what it is. The next time you guys go, expect the bearded one right next to you. I may not be running as hard as y'all, but I'm going.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. The straight, I'm on the back straight. I hit 125 going uphill. Now, mind you, this is being careful.
Yes.
Because it's cold and wet. So there's a lot of speed at Watkins Glen. There's a lot of speed there. It's look, if anyone doesn't do a track day and they're into cars, it's like you're missing out because you can hit whatever you can, unlimited amount of times in the time you're on the track. No worrying about cops, this, that. We can't replicate that feeling.
And not for nothing, it's funny you say, because you don't got to run from the law. Like, when I was looking at Phil's video, if I'm not mistaken, he was clocking 108 going around a high-speed turn in the wet. Shout to Dr. Phil. Shout to
That Mustang is serious. His Mustang is serious.
That Mustang is serious. It was, shout to Shadow Gamer. He said it was wet and cold. I want to see. 40 degrees. Right. And now your tires got to heat. Oh, man, I just want to be part, man. Next time y'all go, because that track is also on Gran Turismo.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. Gran Turismo, Forza, ever since the second one when I started playing it, it's been around.
So you know when Phil said he was going, you know what I did? I just went home and I tried to, like, you know, let me get on this thing a little bit. And I was like, I want to go. I just didn't feel. I was like, you know what? You know, how hard are we running? But now that I seen the video, I'm going next time. So shout to y'all, man, because now y'all done started something. Let's go early.
Yeah, I have to post up. I was downloading the videos. I could post it from my point of view. But keep in mind, any video you've seen someone put from that track day, they're really being careful, me included. Really being careful.
Really? All right, let me keep that in mind.
Summer tires, rain, 40 degrees.
Oh yeah. That's definitely you at that point. And you know what? It's kind of one of those kind of things where you're gonna put the summer tires on anyway. You're gonna put the track tires on regardless if it's wet. And I know you like, yeah, I don't want to lose control of this thing because it looks like those barriers are unforgiving.
Ask all the FRSs and the Mustang that crashed over the weekend. There was a couple of them. This is why and we're actually trying to build the track car. We're trying to find a car to buy to build, actually, for GutterballRally and Rally. But that's a whole nother conversation for another time. Randall, we appreciate you. I appreciate you for tuning in, and I appreciate you for calling in, man. Shout to Randall. Yeah, I appreciate this station being here. Good. You've been working on for a while, so you're doing what you're doing.
Y'all appreciate that. Thank you, man. We're going to get back to it and finish strong, man. Thank you for calling.
No problem. Enjoy.
All right, peace. Later. Shout to Randall. Shout to those real track guys out there. Because they're awesome, and I'm trying to be one. I appreciate y'all early. With that being said, man, we have actually gotten to the end of the show. Oh, man, there was so much we wanted to talk about, but you know, we only got till 2, and I got to get out of here. I got my little guy. He's performing. He's playing soccer. I want to be there for him. He's the starting goalie. He's doing well. So with that being said, man, and the MR2, early. Yes. Let's go. It was an MR2 that smashed out there. Oh man, see, stuff like that scares me, man, because the MR2 is starting to be a really rare vehicle. And the fine parts, if you smash it, if you don't care about it, it's your dedicated track car, you get a scratch dent here and there, it is what it is. But if you drive that thing every day, that scares me, man. But with that being said, y'all know how we get down, man. This is Rally Radio. So we talked about horsepower and we talked about respectable horsepower numbers in the car. I'm going to bring you a car that I think is more than respectable, more than the weight, and more than everything it is. So with that being said, y'all ready? Because here we go.
Legends of Auto. Real legends never die.
All right. This Legends of Auto, brought to you by GutterballRally. Brought to you by GutterballRally today. Legends of Auto is going to be the Pulsar GTIR from 1990 to 1994. I would say I had the first time I ever heard of the engine that was in this car. Shout to my guy, Rich. He was swapping it into his Nissan Sentra SCR. And I said, damn. He was like, yeah, come 250 to the wheels. And, you know, he gave it a lot of props. And I was like, wow, the thing actually is fast. But I wanted to see what engine did the car come out of. And that's when I started to really look into these Pulsar. Now, these Pulsar GTIR, this is a car I would love to buy. They called it Baby Godzilla at one point. Pulsar GTIR, also known as the Sunny GTIR, was developed as a performance model of the 4th generation Pulsar N14 to run in the WRC under Group A regulations and was rolled out in 1990. It featured a 2000cc turbo engine, in other words, a 4-cylinder 2.0 turbo engine, put out 230 horsepower, and it was 4-wheel drive controlled by the Nissan Ateza system. Now, they use this Ateza system still to this day. The GTR had it. Actually, my Infiniti M35 has it as well. But it is also popular as a roadworthy car of impressive appearance with a giant hood bowls that housed a large intercooler in the front. Now, if you've never seen one of these, you just got to say to yourself, they was more than impressive at that time. SR20 DET, 4-cylinder, turbo, ridiculous. To me, it was disc brakes all the way around, super scoop in the hood, and a super front mount intercooler. This car, to me, represents everything that we talk about when we talk about Legends of Auto. A car that we will never, ever see again, and we only seen for a short time. Sucks. But at the end of the day, if I'm importing a car, I want this one. So with that being said, y'all know how we get down here.
Legends of Auto. Real legends never die.
That Pulsar GTIR, I remember watching them. You remember those JDM option videos that they used to sell when you used to go to like I believe Full Throttle had them. You had a lot of those stores at that time that had them. And then when they started going to YouTube, I remember they had one of these. And man, that thing was all business. That thing was all business, man. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I always after shout out to my guy Rich, after he had bought a Pulsar GTIR SR20 motor and put it in his SCR, I was more than impressed. And the thing was, it came with the transmission and there was nothing he could do with it because it was all-wheel drive. He ended up swapping it for a front-wheel drive and transmission. I believe he used the one that came on the SCR, and man, that thing was a beast. But shout to him, man. Shout to all the Nissans, especially this Pulsar GTIR. One of my favorite cars. But with that being said, y'all know how we get down. There's only one other thing we're going to be talking about now. And y'all know how we get down with this one, man. We're going to have our... Y'all ready?
It's the understeer.
What up?
Where we like to ask, what the hell were you thinking?
Now, this understeer, this one is actually a little weird. I started to track it a little bit. I was looking at a news article and it drove me up the wall. There was a pilot who was piloting he wasn't even actually piloting the plane. He was sitting in as a passenger. And we're gonna jump right into this just a little bit. This is our understeer. Off-duty pilot in cockpit tries to crash Alaska Airlines flight and then blames the mushrooms. Captain Joseph D. Emerson was off duty and was riding the cockpit jump seat of Alaska Airlines flight 2059 on Sunday from Seattle to San Francisco, operating through Horizon Air, when he suddenly tried to shut the engines down mid-flight. Thankfully, the on-duty captain, the first officer, quickly subdued Emerson. He probably broke everything in his face. Like, you better back up off the controls. What's wrong with you? You think this 9/11? Hell no. We fist fighting in here. Emerson 44 attempted to shut down the engines down by engaging the emergency engine fire suppression system, which stops the engines. Once they got the plane down to the ground, they spoke to him. And they said that once they really spoke to him, they could see that he was high on mushrooms. And he said that he believed that the authorities, are y'all ready for this? He said, I am not okay. He said he was hearing something saying, put the passengers' lives at risk, and told the flight attendants, you need to cuff me right now or it's going to be bad. With that being said, Alaska Airlines actually get the understeer as well, because who hired this dude? But with that being said, Emerson,
It's the understeer,
What up?
where we like to ask, what the hell were you thinking?
ain't nothing to ask right there. He was definitely not thinking at that point because them shrooms took over. Y'all got to watch out for people that be high on them psychedelic drugs, man. You got to be careful with those kind of people. But with that being said, we have reached the end of the show. Y'all know how we get down, man. It's the Bearded One, Rally Radio. We are in the building. You know how we get down. We about to finish out strong. Shout to everybody who tuned in, paid attention, who rocked with us on Saturdays, 12 noon to 2. You know how we get down. Shout to Randall, first-time caller, everyday track guy. Shout to Shadow Gamer. He tuned in. He dropped a couple comments. Shout to Zoom for Zoom. Shout for SP to Dawn. Shout to Militime NYC. Dr. Phil. We already see y'all. Shout to Marlon, resident Toyota guy. He's in the building. Shout to Ace One. He's off. SP to Dawn. If we didn't say a name already. Draco. Shout to Draco. Shout to everybody who's tuned in. Shout to Aaron. Can't wait to meet up with y'all. We're going to make sure we set something up. So with that being said, I ain't got no more shout outs. Other than those who tuned in, we appreciate you early. And with that being said, until next week, you're going to see some clips. Don't forget, if you missed the show, you could go to GutterballRally.com. Yes, GutterballRally.com. And we're going to have the show playing on the website. We have officially launched our website. If you want to check it out, please check it out. GutterballRally.com. GutterballRally.com. It is officially launched. We're going to make sure that we're going to try to make it transition. We're going to try to make the transition, make it smooth so everybody can see what's going on over there. We're going to put all our events up there, all our builds up there. Got a lot of things you can find the podcast on Alexa now. All you got to do is say, Alexa, turn on Rally Radio, the podcast, and watch how she tune in for you. So with that being said, until next week, we are out.
Drop the clutch, hit the gas. Rally Radio, where the fast life meets the fast lane.
Yeah.
You're now tuned into Bars and Hoops Radio. Where the world of hip hop and sports live.
Dropping the clutch and then I hit the gas. Wheels screeching, tires burning, I'm flying past. Gotta get home quick, don't wanna miss the class. They schooling you on whips and how to make them fast. Talking about everything from cars to planes. What's hot, what's next, and how to flip the game. They talk in my language, we speak the same. That whip talk complex, but yet they keep it plain. From the news, the interviews, they keep it cool. They give reviews, everything from parts to tools. Can't lose, come to whips, they not no fools. Don't miss the show, the start time is noon. The Bearded One, S.I Shawn, they crazy though. You can't miss it, tune in to Rally Radio.